New York AG Letitia James sued for threatening to block transgender sports ban. New York Attorney General Letitia James has been sued by a Nassau County executive who accused her of unconstitutional discrimination when she issued a cease and desist letter and threatened legal action to force the county to allow female-identifying males to compete in women's sports. Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman said in a post on X that he filed the lawsuit to protect women's sports and ensure a safe environment for women. Bullying of women and girls will not be tolerated, he added. Mr. Blakeman filed his complaint on March 5 in the Eastern District of New York, with his lawsuit seeking to block Ms. James from stopping his executive order that imposes a transgender sports ban at county-run facilities. He argued that Ms. James' cease and desist order violates the constitutional rights of girls and women, while accusing her of unconstitutionally discriminating against individuals on the basis of gender in context of sporting events. New York's Nassau County issued an executive order on February 22 that bans male players from competing at county-run facilities in any league that doesn't correspond to their biological sex or that isn't a co-ed or mixed league. There is a movement for biological males to bully their way into competing in sports or leagues or teams that identify themselves or advertise themselves as girls or female or women's teams or leagues, Mr. Blakeman said at a February 22 press conference. We find that unacceptable. It's a form of bullying, he said at the time. In response, Ms. James demanded that the executive order be revoked, arguing that New York law prohibits discrimination on the basis of sex, as well as gender identity or expression. Ms. James' office did not respond to a request for comment on the lawsuit. Undeniable biological differences. The Nassau County Executive Order mandates that sports organizations applying for permits in Nassau County facilities must designate teams according to one of three categories: males, men or boys; females, women or girls; co-ed or mixed, including males and females. The criterion for designation is a team member's biological sex. The new rule expressly prohibits the Nassau County Department of Parks, Recreation and Museums from issuing permits for the use of county facilities for competitions or sports events in which biological males participate in female-designated teams and leagues. The department may, however, issue permits for events in which women compete in men's leagues or events. Samantha Getz, a deputy county attorney who was recently elected as a District 18 legislator, spoke at the February 22 press conference in support of the executive order. This is a matter that concerns the integrity, the fairness, and the safety of women's sports, she said. Our biological differences are undeniable. Ms. Getz, who played varsity basketball, said the executive order is also about access to opportunity like sports scholarships and, ultimately, it's about protecting our female athletes. Mr. Blakeman argued at the press conference that the problem chiefly concerns female-identifying males taking part in women's sports. He said allowing this poses a safety risk due to female competitors due to men's generally superior strength and size, while also depriving women of opportunities. What we are saying here today with our executive order is that if a league or team identifies themselves or advertises themselves to be a girls' or women's league or team, then biological males should not be competing in those leagues, he said. Mr. Blakeman added that he hoped the move would not be seen as discriminatory. He pointedly stated that transgender athletes are welcome to compete in the co-ed or mixed league or in one that corresponds to their sex, but not necessarily their preferred gender identity. However, Ms. James didn't see it that way. Blatantly illegal. Ms. James claimed that the executive order violates the rights of men who identify as women, and forces sports teams and leagues to either discriminate against them or find another place to play. The law is perfectly clear: you cannot discriminate against a person because of their gender identity or expression. We have no room for hate or bigotry in New York, Ms. James said in a statement. This executive order is transphobic and blatantly illegal, she continued, adding that if the county doesn't revoke the order, she'll take further legal action. The issue of men competing in women's sports has become a highly charged issue, with a number of states adopting laws banning transgender-identifying athletes from participating in school sports. While some of these transgender sports bans face legal challenges, an overwhelming majority of Americans say that athletes should only be allowed to compete on sports teams that conform with their birth gender. World Athletics, the international governing body for the sport of athletics, recently banned transgender women from competing in women's events at international competitions,